How's it going? This is Sean. Welcome to the American Soccer Coach. This whole video is going to be about what I think is going to be the best starting lineup for the U-20 World Cup. So I'm essentially getting the players that I think are going to have the best tournaments and combining them into a starting 11, regardless of what country they play for. I do want to make two things. I do want to leave two reminders on this before I get this going. The first one is this is 1 month before the tournament has started. So no teams have announced who's actually going to be going to Poland for the World Cup. So I'm not looking at any lists in terms of knowing who's available and who's not available. And the second one is I'm assuming that any stars are not going to be playing in this. So, for example, Joao Felix from Portugal is eligible to play for the U20s, but I'm assuming he's not going to be there because I'm assuming he's going to be with the full national team. So let's get this started. Number one is Andrei Lunin. He is from Ukraine. And he is currently the goalkeeper at Leganés in Spain on loan from Real Madrid. So Real Madrid bought him, I believe it was from Dynamo Kiev for 9.5 million, and his transfer market value is 5.7 million. And again, I'm going to be using Transfermarkt just for reference of what these players are roughly worth. It doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% accurate, but it just gives you a ballpark idea of what they're roughly worth. And I'm going with Lunin, who obviously has a lot of potential because Real Madrid bought him for almost $10 million. I actually don't think he's the number one goalie on this video. I think that's going to be in this tournament. I think that the number one is actually going to be Alban Lafont, who plays for Fiorentina in France. But the reason I did not put Lafont on this video is I think that I already have, 4 guys from France in this lineup, so I didn't want to add another one and make it pretty much a French team. Anyway, so the right back, Diogo Dalot, some of you probably have heard of him, plays for Manchester United in Portugal. Manchester United bought him from FC Porto for about $25 million, and his transfer market value is at $17 million. I just watched Diogo Dalot yesterday play for Manchester United against Barcelona. Obviously, this kid has a really big future for Portugal. Number 3, center back Evan Ndika from Eintracht Frankfurt, and he's playing for France in the World Cup. His transfer market value is at $25 million. This player has already played, I believe 35 times professionally, which is really impressive for a 19-year-old. And yeah, he's going to have a big tournament, I think. France at the back are going to be insane in this tournament. In saying that, with him at center back, Ibrahima Konate, he plays for France and Red Bull Leipzig. His transfer market value is at $34 million. And this is going to be a really impressive player. France are stacked at center back. I mean, there's guys on this list that I don't even have, like Malang Sarr and Kamara from Marseille, that didn't make the list, but could literally could be starting for any team in this U20 World Cup, 100%. Next player, Dan Axel Zagadou, plays for France and Borussia Dortmund. I just have him on this as a left back, but he usually plays as a center back for Dortmund, but he can play left back. Transfer market value at $34 million. So you just see how many high potential defenders France has. Versatile player, good in the air. And I think he's going to be one of the leaders for France in this tournament. The final French player I will have on this list, because it's 4 in a row, is Matteo Guendouzi of Arsenal in France. Transfer market value as well at $34 million for the holding midfielder. Unai Emery's obviously been giving him good minutes for Arsenal this year. And yeah, France in the middle of the field are going to be really good this tournament. At the back, with their goalie Lafont, with the center backs, and especially with the holding mids, with Guendouzi, and then also Todibo, if they play him there. He could play center back or holding mid, who just signed for Barcelona, I think, the last year from Toulouse. Anyway, next player on this list, Ezequiel Barco. And I kind of thought, should I put Ezequiel Barco on this list? At one time, people were saying he was the best player in South America, best youth player in South America. He plays for Argentina and Atlanta United. I watch a lot of MLS. He has been kind of underwhelming since coming to the United States and playing for Atlanta. But having said that, he's still very young, and obviously he still has plenty of talent and plenty of potential. So hopefully with Argentina, we will see it. And, his transfer value, I think, will continue to increase. And hopefully if he improves with Atlanta, eventually he will be in Europe. The next player, Diego Lainez from Mexico and Real Betis. His transfer market value is at $16 million. And Diego Lainez is, an incredible talent. I mean, I think he's the second most expensive player coming out of Mexico that has gone to Europe. And Real Betis bought him, I believe, at 18 years old. So it really says how much talent this kid has and how much potential he has. The final midfielder is Samuel Chukwueze from Nigeria and Villarreal. He's kind of been a breakout star for Villarreal this year. A lot of people didn't really know about him going into the season, but he's been a really big star. Nigeria historically have done well at the youth level, and I think if they get to the semifinals or the final of this tournament, they call him Samu. Samu is going to be a huge reason for it. I think he's going to be the star of this team. And his transfer market value is at $11.5 million. And going to the forwards, you have Rafael Leao of Portugal and Lille. His transfer market value is at $13.6 million. Lille actually got really fortunate. They signed him off a free transfer from Sporting Lisbon, where he played for many years at youth level. And yeah, so they got really lucky getting, probably one of the best U-20 players in Europe on a free transfer. The final player and the only Colombian on this list is Chucho Hernandez, and he plays for Colombia and Huesca in La Liga on loan from Watford of England. His transfer market value is only $5.7 million. For 19 years old, he scored a goal just about every third game that he's played for Huesca in arguably the best league in the world in La Liga, which to me I think is actually pretty impressive. So he might be, I think a lot of people have heard of guys like Ndika and Zagadou and Dalot and Guendouzi, but maybe Chucho Hernandez is the surprise guy on this list that maybe impresses people. And not a lot of people really knew him going into the tournament. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in this tournament. It's obviously good to have some great young talent in this. I mean, defensively, we've got some really good players, some really well-known players. So hopefully we'll have some good games. And from this list, hopefully 5 years from now, we can see some world-class stars. So thank you guys for watching. Take care.